to the cloud. All right, so what we're going to do is start on So Complete as soon as I can get the screen coming up. And so Complete, the part that I like is the recovery, weight management, daily maintenance, and going back to digestive energy, which is the place that I really want to focus on. So I always love a morning view. And so in the recovery, Greg does a lot of half marathons. They do a lot that actually, and I'm going to use this word, burns up the ATP cycle, which is all about energy. So we want to be able to bring in recovery to the muscle. We want to bring in the nutrients. And this was actually made in order for that recovery to take place in a more powerful way. So the part of when we're going to do recovery, or we're going to use the So Complete, is going to be either after. Normally we're going to do it after. Of course, we couldn't leave Jordan with a fishing trip out, because at the time he had gone on a fishing trip with my husband. But, you know, whether or not you're fishing, you may want to bring something, because most people fishing will not bring food with them because they're men and they forget food. Brisk walks, hikes, just a regular walk, tennis, stretch class, you know, any type of fitness person can use So Complete. So the big thing is that we want to increase muscle. When we're going to increase muscle, the yellow pea contains 19 amino acids in it. It's going to have a protein structure. It has naturally, so in this formula has naturally occurring caffeine. Naturally, it's not put in. It has the nutrients to replenish the body. And then we have the adaptogenic herbs that helps with the stress that exercise puts on us. That is a big one. And then the life force directive of the energy, the way in which the body creates energy in burning fat. So that's that directive. The ATP cycle is all about the way the thyroid will burn fat. We have over 60% of Americans who have thyroid issues. So guess what? They're not going to be like Lon and, you know, be able to break down, you know, rebuild muscle, enhance your performance, and have that, you know, best fitness result, because he's always trying to beat Greg. And that was what I said in my presentation. It was laughing in the audience. So in weight management, which I don't want to focus on it at that aspect, so I will be going through this part very quickly, the next 3 slides, because I want to get to the digestive energy. So as a meal replacement, the Soul Stamina Mind and Body Lifting Blend. So we have the appetite suppressant in here. We have the cleansing effect and the hormone balancing, all within our So Complete. The meal replacement weight, we couldn't leave Blake out, who doesn't get to even sit on his horse anymore because his horse became a warehouse that manufactures supplements. It has 130 calories or less per serving. It increases metabolism. So the Dutch cocoa has 130 calories. The natural has the 110 calories. The meal replacement, you know, for our breakfast, we want 250 to 300 in calories. So add your fruit. What I do now is I actually add the Avant greens, which gives me the hemp seed, the chia seeds. And you see, back then we didn't have that. And then what I do is just add 1 fruit. I do not add 2 or 3 if you're going to be in, you know, fat reduction mode. This is just some other things that I had given as hints. It's really not important. Every one of you do some type of eating program. I don't want to go back to that. The part that I want to focus on and come into is going to be about the stamina, mind, and body lifting. So what part is the lifting? It's the caffeine. So a hot chocolate has about 15 unless they add, caffeine to it. So the cocoa is going to have 18 milligrams of caffeine, and the natural will have 15 milligrams of caffeine, which is nothing, guys. These drinks that every town in our area is selling has anywhere from 350 above, drinks. They're making these little retail shops, and everybody's telling me this tea they're drinking is so good for them. It will burn your thyroid out. If you have a thyroid issue, please do not drink highly caffeinated drinks. So the yerba mate and the green tea are the ones that create the little bit of caffeine that we have in it. However, we have used the green tea is decaffeinated, but even in a decaffeinated tea, you're going to have about 5 to 10 milligrams. So just to kind of give you guys an idea. Then we have the Solle Systematic Rejuvenation. So what I'm doing is I'm just breaking down the back of the bag, and I'm showing you the different components of what the bag had. And so on the systematic rejuvenation part, consists of natural herbs and fruit fibers, plant source enzymes, and heat resistant probiotics to soothe the digestive tract and increase bioavailability. BioSoul also contains herbal ingredients that support healthy hair, skin, and nails. So a lot of people will talk to me about their hair, skin, and nails whenever somebody has hair falling out, hair issues, hair alopecia, blah, 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 blah. I turn around and put them on Soul Complete, but I do it as a supplement you would take twice a day and not as a drink. So that's where I end up doing a tablespoon, or I do 1 scoop in the morning, 1 scoop at night. I do it in a different concept. So the appetite suppressants in our Soul Complete, and I love to call it a protein plus. The reason I call it a protein plus is because we know what the plus brings to the table. So the appetite suppressants in here are green tea, yerba mate, and the chicory. The cleansing, and when I say cleansing, you can live off of slippery elm. Slippery elm is actually something that is rebuilding, and it helps to balance the flora in the body. It helps with irritable bowel syndrome. The chicory is the prebiotic. It's the inulin. So the inulin is the prebiotic, and it feeds the friendly flora. The apple, berry, and cranberry is where a lot of our fibers are coming from in this formula. So I always love to make jokes about hormones. However, it's not really a joke, but because it's not a joke when you're going through menopause. I warned you about the hormones and all that meat and dairy, and he's just got some extra breast coming out. So Complete has hormone balancing benefits. So first we have the Ryadola, and it has an indications for chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, and post-viral syndromes. Then it's a great tonic for elderly people who are failing to thrive. It improves mental performance, concentration, memory, and especially under stress to improve mental performance. Then we have the Olutro, which is our Siberian ginseng. It had to be changed names with me being in the herbal world. So it's optimal for the endocrine function. Endocrine function is all about our hormones, messengers to speak to one another. Physical stress, fatigue, mild depression, and it improves mental performance and concentration, a tonic for the elderly. Astragalus, this is my favorite herb. It's for night sweats, fatigue, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, and post-viral symptoms. All of these adaptogenic herbs that was chosen for the Soul Complete indicate for going towards chronic fatigue, especially. And the other part is a person that keeps blaming their hormones for all of their decrease of energy. So the person who comes in and it's constantly blaming their hormones for everything that's going on in their life, you may want to think differently about our Soul Complete. What we have in Soul Complete is vitamins, enzymes, probiotics, antioxidants, fatty acids, minerals, and superfoods. So here we go. Vitamins and minerals, that's the ginger, which has silica, magnesium, and manganese. Marshmallow, traces of minerals, chronic chromium, iron, manganese, and selenium. I know I'm going to go through this fast, but I just want to bring up some key points. So where you're going to think differently when you're going to think about Soul Complete. So in our marshmallow, we have chromium, iron, magnesium, and selenium. Slippery elm has calcium, iron, manganese, phosphorus, and zinc. Vitamin C, B1, K, and P, which is bioflavonoids. Horsetail is in there. We have silica, calcium, manganese, chromium, iron, manganese, magnesium, and potassium. Astragalus has calcium, essential fatty acids, iron, magnesium, manganese. Rose hips is our excellent source of vitamin C. Alutro has the calcium, the chromium, the phosphorus, the potassium, magnesium, iron, zinc, vitamin A, B, C, D, E, F, G, B2. It's like almost hilarious. It's like we don't think that all these plants have all these nutrients, but the reason I wanted to bring this up, and you know, we have ribose in this formula. Ribose is known for the heart, but also for calcium, copper, manganese, magnesium, fluoride, which is the proper one, potassium, zinc, and alpha hydroxyic acid. Ribose is known highly to help rebuild in our current situation of the different viruses that we are dealing with. We also have enzymes. It is the papain. The probiotic is the Lactobacillus aeruginosus, which is a shelf-stable probiotic. Then we have our FOSs, and it's fructose saccharides, and that's what FOSs stand for. We have our antioxidants, which are our superfoods, and those are it's a marketing term, but what that means is things that are rich in red, in bright colors. So that's where the fruits that we put in cover that category of the superfood. So that's going to be all the cranberries, the different blueberries, things like that. This is the most important screen I want to cover right here. And that's the reason before I just said the alphabets for you and I named all the minerals, because when we come to this part, iron deficiency is the most common nutritional deficiency worldwide. Menstrual cycling women, the parts where our bodies is bringing to the table. Some people have too much iron, but I'm going to tell you, most people who have too much iron have inorganic iron, whereas we need organic iron. Iron deficiency lowers the resistance to colds. Iron and oxygen are like a hand and a glove. One cannot be considered without the other. Iron and oxygen. Do you know that iron is what makes our red blood cells the correct width, the correct dimensions, the way the spleen makes that red blood cell to last 90 days. The correct balance of iron and oxygen in the blood multiplies charm, calmness, grace, and a personal magnicity. So in other words, you are a magnet to other people. When you don't have sufficient iron in your body, you are cold, going into the depression. So what I'm doing is giving you the personality profile of a person who has well-balanced iron. A lot of people who don't return text messages, don't return an email on a prompt, or in a timely manner, will be an iron deficient person, or they have too much iron in their body. So the correct balance, the sign of anemia. So anemia is iron deficiency. So there's two parts to anemia. We could have a B12 deficiency, or we can have an iron deficiency. So when we're looking on the eyelid and you pull it down, and if the blood, like it's not showing that nice, wonderful red between where the eyeball meets and the flesh, and that's really, really white, it's an indication of the body not having enough blood supply, which is anemia. The inner surface of that membrane it crosses the blood-brain barrier, so the blood vessels are not getting the amount of blood. So that's where our low blood count comes in. Paleness generally indicates a lack of iron. Low iron sometimes results in fasting and dieting without proper supervision. It can result from calorie counting and from eating refined and processed foods. That's why we're having more and more iron deficiencies in teenage girls, is because of the fact of all the refined and processed foods. Or it can be the result of a poor assimilation due to a toxic bowel. So remember gut-brain connection. So marshmallow, horsetail, ginkgo biloba, slippery elm, and peas are all supplying us with iron in this formula. Ribose. What does ribose bring to the table in our Soul Complete Protein Plus? It reduces the LDL. The ginger is what helps with motion illness, relieves body pain. It helps with nausea. So a woman who is pregnant, if she were to actually have a drink like this and drink it throughout the day, she would actually be getting in components that helps to stop nausea, and she would be fulfilling her nutritional profile in order for her to, not have the nausea. The horsetail is our joint issues. It's going to be for hair, osteoporosis, osteopenia, all these different types of structural issues. The rose hips is capillary fragility. So that's going to be your small blood vessels. That's going to go back to the hemorrhoids, little blood vessels that you see in your legs, different parts like that. Rose hip is wonderful. I love rose hips for its vitamin C content, and we have taken that instead of vitamin C because it assimilates a lot better. Then we have the part of the lift and energizing mood for component to the Protein Plus. It enhances the mental focus. It's going to increase stamina. So it's going to give you that ability to be able to last throughout the day. It's convenient and it's very gentle on the stomach. So the digestive recovery. One of the things with this formula, it's highly digestible and it's plant-based protein. So it's going to assimilate at a higher rate. It is plant-based, no dairy, no soy, no nuts, gluten-free, a complete protein, great for vegetarians and vegans or anybody with any type of allergies. The nutritional components, it was not it's going to bring that full spectrum of nutritional components. It was not processed in a tree or nut facility, and it is one batch, single batch, so it is never cross-contaminant with any other type of food that's processed in a huge room that processes one food after another and does not break down their equipment. This one is a single batch in that room. After that batch is made, it is 100% cleaned, which therefore gives me the confidence of recommending it to any one of my children who have allergens or different people who come and have a whole array of things they need to stay away from. This is my favorite part, bar none. When Blake and I discussed how much slippery elm, how much marshmallow should be put in this formula, I brought to the table and talked to him about colitis, IBS, Crohn's disease, celiac, leaky gut, Candida albicans or candidiasis, fungal infection. That falls under fungal infections. And remember, you guys, when we talk about the trifold and we talk about the number 3 phase, we go into the fungal infections, go back to parasitology. So that is an infestation within our bloodstream that we need to lessen. Ulcers, people may have ulcers within their colon, small intestines, or large intestines. This is huge for these people, and it brings so much to the table. I like the fast track added with this because that fast track brings in the aloe, which aloe, marshmallow, slippery elm can really heal any type of soft tissue damage. Let me say it like that. In the BioSol Systematic Rejuvenation Blend, what's consistent of that is the apple, the blueberry, the cranberry fibers. So those are your antioxidants. The chicory and chicory root is going to be your inulin, which is your prebiotics. The slippery elm is going to be a huge nutritive. If I was on a deserted island, I would bring slippery elm with me in bulk because I can live off of slippery elm. George Washington's crew lived during the worst winter ever because of slippery elm. Horsetail is going to help the hair, skin, and nails, which becomes part of our structural system. The marshmallow root is going to be so cooling to the urethra, all the soft tissue in the body. So the urethra is the tube that goes from the kidneys to the bladder. And if you think about it, a lot of infections will take place in that area. So this can also help with that. The papain is the digestive enzyme. The Lactobacillus aeruginosus is the probiotic. And the xanthans and the gum guar is part of also the fiber blend that's brought to the table in this Protein Plus blend. I want to thank everybody, and I will open this up for question and answer. I'll stop sharing my screen. And does anybody have any questions before I stop the recording?